Welcome to the YouTube channel of Butterflies and Things, and today I'm talking with Arwen, the ball jointed doll artist, about the very serious subject of recasting in the ball jointed doll world. Let's get started. Right, so let's talk about recasts. I know it's not your favorite subject, but let's see if we can talk about it like dispassionately. It's hard for an artist, I know. So can you tell me what is a recast?
A recast is a doll that's been copied by actually taking the original doll and making new molds, a new set of molds out of them, and then casting it from there. Basically, there is no artistic action in this involved at all.
Can I just say it's basically somebody copied a doll from somebody else?
Yes, but there are two ways of copying a doll. You can either copy its looks and recraft it basically, or you can just take the doll and make the copy using the molds. Usually we call that a recast because yeah, and recreating the doll from an existing other doll, it's called copying. It's also not allowed, but it does involve making an original, a new original, and a lot of work, more work than just making a recast.
So recast is you take it and you immediately use that as the template for your new doll.
Yeah.
You
have the actual doll in your hand,
yeah,
and you take it apart and copy.
So that's clearly copying.
Recasting.
Yeah, well, it's like literally plop,
yeah,
like that. And then there's the I know this doll, I'm going to make that doll.
Yes, and remake that doll in a new with new materials, and as for a single person to do that for their own doll in their own clay, that's not a problem. But when a company does it and then starts to selling the doll as their own, the problem, of course, is that with the copying and not the recasting. Recasting is straight what the original was is going to be the recast. For technical reasons, it's going to be a little bit smaller because the stuff shrinks when you.
Okay.
this is a normal thing. So a recast is always a little bit smaller than the original. But when you do copying and try to sell that as your own, that's another problem. But you run into the problem that there is a limited amount of ways you can make a human shape. So the dolls in a way are going to look alike in that they are human shapes. If a female doll is going to have a certain amount of hips and a certain amount of fronts,
yeah. And a male doll will have
but
chests and abs and
the tradition within the ball jointed doll world is that you can't copy a complete doll as such, but it is going to be a matter of, okay, these hips are going to look like that doll, and these hips are going to look similar, these breasts are going to look similar to that kind of doll because of the limitations. And then that is not called copying. It's just when you get the entire shape and entire concept and shape of the doll and recreate it and then try to sell it as your own. That's a copy, and that's also no.
And then both those are in the broad term of recast problems.
Yes, except that they are two different things, and people do confuse them. They call copying a recast. No, a recast is really, you start off with the original doll, you had it in your hands, and you're making a new set of molds.
Technically, how you actually made the copy is a different process than just a copy without the recasting process.
Yes.
But in the end you end up with a doll that is exactly like the other doll that's already on the market. Yeah,
and that causes problems within the community. The question is then, how did you get the idea? Because like I said, it's going to happen that dolls look alike.
Yeah.
So if you got the idea by looking at the other doll, that's a no-no. If you accidentally got a similar idea, then they look similar. And the question is, where do you draw the line? There are some examples of dolls that look very, very similar, which are considered not a problem, and there are dolls that also look very similar and that are considered a problem.
Okay.
You can't tar everybody with the same brush on this. You have to see how they did it, why they did it, and
what was the intent? Did they actually intend to steal
yeah, and
design?
was it a mistake? Because that also happens. Newbie designers that are hired by companies and they have no clue, and they just think, oh, that's a pretty doll, I'll copy that. That happens. Then you have to, as a company, you have to, of course, when you realize a mistake, you have to withdraw the doll, and then yeah, mistakes happen in companies all the time, any kind of business. Yeah. So, but recasting, just taking somebody else's doll and physically recasting it, that's a big no-no. And
why would what are the reasons that people do this? Why would one do it?
Well, why would one do it? Because the person who makes the recast doesn't have to actually pay a designer to do any work. The doll is going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Why would you not do it would be a question of, you know, the doll artist is not getting paid, and they are, the work is getting made. The person who buys the work is not going to buy the original anymore because they have the work, and the doll artist is not going to get paid. And that means, in the long run, that means that the doll company that employs this doll artist is going to go bust. Right. And a company like Zoom and Ippelhaus and Lutz are all under attack from recasters, Chinese recasters who just in some way got hold of the doll, and at first they bought them, and now people know who to blacklist. To not everybody can buy all these dolls anymore. Ippelhaus has a list of people in China they don't sell to, because they know they're going to recast them straight away. And it means that people in these companies, in Ippelhaus, in Zoom, will lose jobs. Yeah. And
they're losing sales.
They're losing sales, and they're losing jobs. And it also means they're going to make less different dolls, fewer different dolls. That's the reason why recasting is so such a bad thing within the community, because it actually hurts the artists, which makes the dolls in the first place. If you keep recasting, the artists will go out of business, and there will be no more new dolls, and nobody wants that.
And then effectively the entire doll business will fold, because if you have no new artists to make the new dolls,
you're going to be recasting the old dolls forever, and that's
boring.
Yes.
Eventually it will get boring if you've only got a limited amount of designs on the market and never
if the artists can't live off it, they will start doing something else. They will go design something else.
I mean, so we have to remember that these are actually companies that need to employ people and keep them afloat. And you told me to ask you about Korean companies. The limited.
Oh yeah, no, that's the reasons why. One of the reasons that people want to get a recast is because Korean companies, they put out a lot of limited dolls, limitedly available. Zoom is the biggest one. I think every single doll they make is a limited, and then the limited runs out, and then the doll is not available anymore, and then somebody who is not doesn't mind buying recasts, who's not so worried about it, says, okay, that's I want that doll, and no other doll, and so it's my right to go to a recast and ask for one.
So that brings me to the question of the actual purchaser of recast dolls. Assuming this purchaser, the fan or the buyer, actually has an idea that this doll is clearly a recast, why would she do that? What's her motivation?
The money.
Oh, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Right.
It's cheaper. The Zoom dolls and all these dolls are expensive, and the recast is going to be cheaper because they cut out half the processing cost. Half the cost of making dolls they just cut out, so they can not. You know. The excuse that people who buy recast use is, yes, it's limited and there's no other way for me to get it.
Yeah. Do you have a right to any design out there, even if it's out of... If I go to the store and I want last year's shoe model that had a Star Wars design on it, it's sold out because it was limited edition. Yeah, I can go second hand.
Yeah, and so can they.
But I would not go to a company and go, can you please make this Star Wars doll, because they don't have the rights to the Star Wars franchise.
Indeed. And there is a
shoes, Star Wars shoes. I was talking about shoes.
Yeah, we're talking about shoes. Yeah, I know. We have a friend who has shoes like that, and
yes,
they're very pretty.
I'm trying very hard not to name that particular company, but they make pretty shoes with all sorts of gorgeous.
And
you know what I mean.
You have to. I'm sorry, you just have to buckle up and find another pretty doll. There are so many dolls out there.
If you miss a limited edition.
Sue makes so many beautiful dolls, and every single one is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And
or wait another half year for the next design to come out.
Exactly.
Be excited about new designs coming out.
And it's not like that you need a doll to live.
No.
It's about wanting a doll, and you know,
so
is it
fun,
do you want it
enjoying.
enough? Do you want it enough to say, I don't care about artists, I don't care about anybody else in the world, I'm gonna get this doll come hell or high water? Is that what a person wants?
But even if you want that, your recast is not actually your only option. You can go second hand. People are always offloading dolls.
Yeah.
You go on the legitimate forums and you go find people. You even ask around, say, is there anyone who's thinking about selling their particular this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this
that's an option. That's an option. And so I don't think that saying, oh, it's limited and it's not available anymore is a really good excuse.
What's the consequence for a person? I'm like, I don't care about all that. I want this doll. I want it on my shelf in my bedroom. What's my consequence? What risk am I running?
Well,
owning this doll.
Your first risk is when you buy. Basically, you're buying from crooks.
Oh yeah, because of course
they are crooks. They have stolen their stuff.
By definition, they are actually
crooks.
Yes.
So you're buying from crooks.
Bad guys.
You're buying from crooks, and that has consequence in that form.
So they might actually run away with your money before you even get your doll.
They might maybe have been in three years in business, and they decide, okay, now a lot of people have given me money and haven't given me any dolls yet. How about now is perfect time for me to disappear? You know, that sort of thing.
I've been in financial activities where that actually has happened.
Yeah.
And used nothing.
Person been working in the doll in the Finnish business for 30 years, and then decides, okay, now I'm gonna up sticks and take all the money that people gave me.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah.
So it happens.
It's not nice for the fans.
No, but it's a risk. If you know you're talking to a crook. I mean, the fans didn't know that they were talking to a crook. But if you're gonna buy a recast, you're gonna be buying it off a crook.
So be aware, if somebody's selling you a recast, you're actually talking to someone who is not a legal, legally aware or legally willing to go by the law.
Yeah.
And that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Never do that.
So never do that, exactly.
Never do that. But there are other consequences, aren't there?
Yeah.
If you do buy one.
One of the consequences is that the BJG fans, the society that we have going, a lot of the people say, you know what, recasting, we're against it. For the reasons that it doesn't pay the artist, for the reasons that we have to pay, everybody else pays the full price.
Yeah.
You come in with your cheap doll. That's like.
And we're supposed to like that. They're probably not going to welcome these people.
No, and they don't, and they can be very, very vocal about it. And there's going to be groups where you're not. Most groups where you're not allowed. The big forums where you're not allowed. You're going to have to find that other crowd, the recast friendly crowd, that. And you have to go into realize that these are indeed the type of people who buy from crooks.
So again, you're getting involved with people that are not on the up and up, and it starts to get shady and dangerous. It is actually shady to start with, and then it might get dangerous.
It could get dangerous.
Another problem that I find, because a lot of people want to display their dolls.
Yeah, forget that.
And where am I going to display?
Well, not
a good recast.
Not on the big social media places. Not on the big forums. they're completely anti-recast. You get banned. You can't take it to a lot of meets. They will not let you in. They send people home with recast dolls. Yeah, you're gonna again have to find a little niche where those friendly people are, and
it doesn't get you in to have fun with other people.
No.
So
sorry, no.
We have a little blinky light on our machine, so we're gonna run out of.
Yeah, I think we're gonna stop about this subject. It's not a fun subject. Sorry, not a fun day today.
Well, we solved our battery problem.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Something I want to say. As an artist, I make dolls. And it boggles my mind that I have to explain this to people. As an artist, I cannot be pro recast.
Right.
I cannot.
Yeah. Pretty much anyone at this point can't be.
But even especially as an artist, because basically they're copying my colleagues' works now, and they could be copying me next.
Yeah, there goes Claudette.
There goes Claudette. There goes my.
No, I don't want that.
We don't want that. So, so something happened to me, which a really facepalm moment of a girl on a group, and it was what they call a recast friendly group, which always ends up the same way. You always end up in a discussion about recasts because
then you've got non-recasters, like original doll people, and you've got recast people, and there will be a clash. So anyway, this girl announced that she had bought a doll, and I went with the picture. That comes from a suspect source, so I checked. Do you realize that this possibly can be a recast? Oh, she said, yeah. And then I said, well, you know what? I am an artist. Recasting, it's not right. And then she says, oh, but this is a special doll that I want. It was an Ippelhaus. Of course it was an Ippelhaus. Yeah. Because it's odd size, and I only want it for a model, so I can make so I can sew for it and then sell the clothing. No, sorry. If you is she still using the model? She's sending pictures of the model.
There's no excuse for it here, because if you're gonna take especially an odd size doll, she gets the odd size doll to specifically make clothing for a doll company she's not supporting. She's making money.
Didn't legitimately buy a doll from the company that she's making clothing for.
Yeah, and then she tried to convince me for like 5 or 6 or 10 posts that it was really, really okay, knowing that I am an artist myself. Yeah. Brain!
Also, by the time you've said, I'm not okay with it, then the discussion should be over anyway.
Yeah, but it wasn't. She kept going. She tried to convince me that really it was the right thing to do. No, go buy the Ippelhaus original. Just like everybody else.
Yeah. If you want an Ippelhaus, it costs Ippelhaus money.
You want to make money.
Look secondhand. Looks anywhere.
You want to make money off a doll, then you buy the original doll. At the very bloody least.
Yeah. And people will love somebody for making very specific doll clothing for that doll, but not if it's odd sized. Then it's completely devoid of use.
No, that's not the odd size. The doll itself was odd size.
But you said it shrinks. Yeah, copying.
For the clothing probably wouldn't matter so much. It's just it's a little bit, but it's enough. No, the doll was specifically, she chose that doll from Ippelhaus because it was not a normal regular size. She couldn't have picked any other doll from a cheaper company with the same measurements. Yeah, that's why she wanted it. It was a 34 centimeter child doll, and that's exactly.
Okay, I've not heard that number before.
Exactly.
I'm hearing a lot of numbers from you, but not that one.
People who know Ippelhaus will know which doll I'm talking about, and that's not okay to make money off of a company's doll and then not get the doll. No, it's not okay. No, but and I couldn't. She couldn't understand, and I had to explain to her that as an artist, I can't condone it.
You can never say that's okay, girl. No, you're not gonna hear that.
She wanted to hear that from me. That's what she gets at.
That's probably why she ended up sending 10 posts. Yeah, she wants approval.
So As an artist, I have to say I can't be before recasts, and if you don't understand why, please
go back to the beginning of this video.
It's not
and then everything, all the reasons why you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And also, best stay away from it, because you're just not going to have a good time in the ball joint doll world.
If you want a doll and you want, of course, you want the most expensive one, but you can't afford it, get a cheaper doll or just save longer. Yeah. A lot of people I know have saved like 2 or 3 years to get that one doll that they wanted. It is possible. They are expensive, but they're not super duper idiot expensive.
It's not unattainably expensive.
It's not unattainable. If you put away
a lot of money,
if you put away $10 for enough months, you will get a doll.
Yeah,
the
especially
big doll.
If you go but if you go, let's first get a nice medium price doll, or you know. Yeah,
but even if you don't want to do that, you can. If you just save a little bit.
If you say I want that doll, nothing else, then of course you should be willing to save for a couple of years. And I know it sounds long, but in adult life, people save for years for stuff.
And everybody else who buys legit does that exactly. I know enough newbies who come who come to show their first doll and say that I've been working to get this doll for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. You know?
Absolutely. And then they're deliriously happy once they've got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not like you need the doll to live or anything like that. If you just go for, it's cheaper, then I'm going to say, sorry, you're just a money grubber of some sort. It's not.
But I still if it's cheaper, if you're looking for cheaper, look secondhand, because there are some dolls out in odd colors. Like maybe that Ippelhouse doll was brought out in a bizarre color because somebody had an idea and then
Ippelhouse does their own thing.
But see, I don't know enough about it. She does
but the alternative is actually go for a cheaper company. There are lovely dolls that are dolls, and you can. One of the things why you would want a doll is to be actually part of the community, and that's wonderful. But you can do that with any. Any legitimate doll from any company, from a little one to a bigger one, basically for under $100 you can set yourself up with a nice doll, and you can sew, you can show it everywhere, you can do everything that's part of the community with it.
Ask for money for your Christmas presents, ask for money for your birthday presents, save what you've got that you don't need for food and for everything else and for your studies and lodgings, and then you can get and then get a legitimate one. Yeah.
So it's really a question of money. In the end, is how to deal with money and how to make reasonable decisions. And make sure
stay within the law.
Make sure that by staying in the law, you get the people who actually made the doll, the artists, give them they need to eat, and if you give them money for what they have already made, then they will make something more.
And you will stay within you will have the entire community of ball joint doll owners clamoring to see your cheapy, nice, lovely doll that is all yours legitimately, much more than they will ever want to see your recast. So, at that, we hope that message is clear. And you take some away from this, and if you found it useful, please give us a like, and next time we will hope to bring you something
more cheery,
but we will also always talk about the realities of the ball jointed doll world. And if you have questions, please send it to us here under there on the YouTube channel, or go to the Facebook page and ask us questions, and we will try to put that into a video in the future. I'd love to hear from you.
There are no dumb questions.
Oh no, because that's what we do here. We do like basic, anywhere from basic to specialty. So
indeed.
Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.